we had a lot of Red Sox fans around here, and we just had Dwight Evans on, and we're going to replay that at 5:25 again because Dwight Evans is one of my heroes.
What's going on with the game? Are they losing? They're losing.
Losing.
You're losing.
4-1.
4-1. It's over.
But a crazy
Lost.
piece of history, though. Today's game will be the first game ever in the history of Major League Baseball between the Blue Jays and the Red Sox where one man is playing for both teams in the same game.
Yes.
Mr. Jansen, the catcher that was just picked up by the Boston Red
Danny
Sox about a month
Jansen.
ago, he used to be on the Toronto Blue Jays. He was actually on the team, and was he at bat? I think he may have been at bat. When this game got suspended.
Possible. It's possible. He was in their lineup,
right.
So he was active for the Blue Jays, gets traded to Boston, and so, of course, Alex Cora, being the cool guy that he is, he starts Danny Jansen in this game, so now he played for both teams in the same game.
First pitch swing, got a hit. Didn't come to a run, though, but got a hit. So that really cool thing that's going on in Boston as that game continues. The other Sox making history, the White Sox, losing their 100th game over the weekend. Yeah, they did it. They did it. You just said they did it.
They broke a 108-year-old record.
Woo!
The quickest to 100 losses.
All right.
So they're 31-100.
Was this the Spiders, the Cleveland Spiders?
I didn't do the math on that, but we could probably go back and find out.
29 Spiders.
But it's just bad. And the kid Vargas that got traded from the Marlins to the White Sox, they had a picture of him. He looks so down and distraught. Like, how did I get here? How did I get traded from it? Mediocre team to the worst team in possibly the last 100 years.
How did I get here?
How did I get here? Is this really the big league?
Well, I'm rooting for them to keep on losing. I want to see the ultimate loser. If you're going to do something, do it all the way.
31-131. It's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible.
They could make it happen.
Here's the good note, though, because I remember this like it was yesterday. 119 losses for the Detroit Tigers, and a couple years later, they're in the World Series. It's about going out in free agency, getting some good players. And then that brings you more players in the next couple of years that want to play with those good free agents and good teammates. And that's what they have to do. You have to continue to build a great minor league system, but you have to bring in free agents. You just can't keep getting rid of all your good players and think that, AA, AAA caliber players, and they're not bad guys, they're pros,
right.
But they're not major leaguers, and they're going to be exposed after a certain point. A couple weeks in the big leagues, couple months in the big leagues, you get exposed to your weaknesses. If you can't make proper adjustments, you're going to stink over the course of 6 straight months of baseball. And I think a lot of the White Sox problems have been exposed this year.
One of the biggest pickles, the scariest moment in baseball on the weekend was
I was in that Yankees game yesterday.
5th inning, Yankees-Rockies. Giancarlo Stanton's at the plate, swings and puts a ball in play. His backswing hits the umpire.
No.
Bat shattered.
The bat snaps. I watched it live.
Right.
Bat
at the handle.
snaps
Right at the handle.
Probably a maple bat. The broken bat. Now, this umpire doesn't have a headgear on. He doesn't have a hockey helmet.
Right. He's wearing a hat.
He's just got a baseball hat
and the cage.
and a mask,
yeah.
and it hits him up like in the cheek, ear, throat area. Luckily, the broken shard part of it, the sharp bottom, which you had, I don't know, almost 80% of the bat left because just the handle in Stanton's hands was left.
Right.
That's what strikes the umpire full bore.
I was so afraid that handle, when you see it, it's very brutal to watch it because it happens
slow
so
motion.
fast.
Right.
Slow motion is one
I heard
thing.
it live, and it was like, bah, bah.
Right.
And it was like, okay, so something hit the umpire's mask.
And when you watch it in slow motion, putting it in your head how fast it really is, like that shard, when that bat breaks, it is now a shiv. And
it's a 30-ounce
Right.
sharp piece of wood that can and so it impaled Steve Yeager, but he was in the on-deck circle, and that's where the throat guards came in. So that was in the mid-'70s, maybe late 70s, I recall. And I'll never forget it because I was catching in, Babe Ruth, high school. I was a catcher besides the other positions I played, and that's when the throat guards came out, which you had two pieces of rawhide, and you had this big plastic thing. That was because of Steve Yeager. He started that whole thing. So but the whole thing is the helmet part. I was texting Paul O'Neill, who's doing the game.
Yeah.
He was talking about this, and I brought it to his attention. I'm like, yeah, but dude, he's not wearing a helmet. He's like, that's a great point. these umpires should at least have the half helmet that they outlawed with the everyday players without the ear flaps.
Yeah.
He should at least have that on. It would have protected him a little bit and taken a brunt of that.
I think they should wear the full thing, man. I think they should be wearing.
Here's the problem with that. A lot of guys I did research a few years ago on this. There's been a lot of concussed umpires that have had to retire that used to wear that full face mask. Mike Matheny used to wear it. A lot of catchers used to wear it. Ended their careers. They don't like that full face mask half thing on the back. So a lot of guys have gone back to more protection up front and the half helmet contraption that they had in the 80s and the 90s.
This umpire's name is Nick Marley. He has umpired over 400 games in major leagues. He has been diagnosed with concussion symptoms, and that is great to hear because it could have been
much worse.
Much worse.
And we pray that he's 100% back on the field this year.
Right.
But again, people don't realize there's certain things on a baseball field ridiculously dangerous. A foul ball, but a broken bat that is now airborne. And when you see those things now, and again, I've been talking about this since we started working together, there's no regulations on how they make a wood bat. They study them, never came out with a study, never said anything. There's no regulations. You could have a 35-ounce bat, drop 5. It could be 35-inch bat. It could be drop 5, 30 ounces. But they could be maple. Maple is wrapped around the bat as far as the grains go. A ash bat goes the length of the bat. That's totally different. And so when you see bats, like, I don't know, it was the Red Sox game I was watching it. Somebody broke a bat, and just a big piece flaked off. That's an ash bat. Didn't go anywhere. Went 5 feet out of the batter's box. When you see that thing, if that projectile had gone towards the mound or towards shortstop, it's in full flight. So if you think a guy is hitting 115 off the bat like Stanton, that could kill somebody.
Right.
So again, you should have studied this stuff that you had like the 5 years you did it, come out with some regulations on, listen, we need to, have these bats because listen, I don't recall a lot of broken bats when I played. When you did it, it was rare and we talked about it. When you look back at 50 years before I played, they were using 40-inch bats that were 38 ounces. Dick Allen used to swing them. Guys like that used to swing them. Not the biggest guy. Frank Robinson used to swing them. So I think it's more about, closer density to the length of the bat as opposed to these skinny-handled bats that you could send out towards shortstop.
Catching people up on the wild card race, our teams keep on slipping away from that last spot. The Red Sox now 3.5 out of it. 2.5 for the New York Mets. Their schedules really kind of mirror each other. Right now, the Mets will be taking on the Diamondbacks. They kind of replace the Red Sox for that series. Then a should-win series for both of them coming up against the Chicago White Sox. And then, don't look now, but Labor Day, the Red Sox and Mets will match up in a series. So both those teams needing as many wins as they possibly can to stay in that hunt for that final wild card.
And this is something you don't want next to your team's name. The White Sox have already been eliminated from the postseason.
Golly.
They are 41.5 games out of the wild card. Yes.
Still in August.
Horrible season.
New York
Chicago White Sox.
Yankees are still building their lead against the Baltimore Orioles right now, 1.5 on top of them. Should win baseball games for the Yankees that they just finished winning 2 of 3 from the Colorado Rockies. They are taking on in Washington, D.C., the Nationals here for a series. So some should win baseball for New York.
Let me give you some Orioles games that are upcoming here to end their schedule, the last 31, 32 games. They've got the Dodgers. Those are some tough games.
Don't count on
They do go to Colorado, play the Rockies. So they have a 6-game stretch where they should win 5 of the 6. 3 with Colorado, 3 with the White Sox. So this is where the Yankees have to watch out. But then they come right back with some tough games. Orioles have to play the Rays for 3 at home. Then they go to Boston and Detroit. Then they have the Giants come to town, the Tigers come to town, and then they finish with 2 really tough teams. Orioles have to play the Yankees 3 more times in New York, and the Twins 3 more times, who are fighting for a wild card spot, and even the division in the Central. So not an easy rest of the schedule for the Orioles.
Anyone's ball game still. Unless you're the White Sox.
Isn't it amazing, though, 130 games in?
Yeah.
Final 30, it's still anybody's game to win divisions and be wild cards.
Still got a long way to go. I do have a couple more things for the pickle. I don't know if you saw this in an A's game, the ultimate fan that I am so jealous of. I have never, in all of the baseball games I have attended, and we're talking about minor league baseball, I've never caught a foul ball. Nothing's come close. Maybe had one bounce. I remember when I was with my grandpa at a minor league game when I was like 8. That was kind of close. This dude at the Oakland A's game, now understand, there's a lot of room to work at Oakland A's games.
There's not a competition.
Not as much competition when I was a youngster, but this dude who's, I think he's got to be early 20s maybe, 3 foul balls, Dibs, same inning. He caught 3 foul balls in the same inning. Now, I want to say luck, but I've seen these foul ball catches. This dude's making snags all over the place. Like, he had to jump to get one. Like, they were well-efforted foul ball catches. So, tip of the cap is, even though I'm so jealous of this guy. 3 foul balls.
He was in the upper deck, had a glove on.
Had a glove. He was ready.
I hope he gave kids the ball.
I think he was looking around for any of them, but he couldn't find it.
Really around.
Hey,
but
nobody's there.
Here's the thing, man. I mean, there's a fan. I was reading this last week. So there's a fan that's in Baltimore in Camden Yards, and he's out there. And I guess he got boxed out. What was it? John, turn your mic on. Because
you're talking about Zach Hampel?
Yes, this dude is like some kind of collector or something.
Yeah, he's always catching foul balls.
Did you interview him?
But the fans boxed him out on this occasion.
Someone pushed him to the floor, it looked like, there. For one of Gunnar Henderson's home runs maybe at Camden.
So this, or it might have been the Holiday home run.
I think you're right. I think it was Jackson Holiday.
Jackson Holiday's first home run at Camden, and everybody's like, you're not getting this, bro. And they just they held him out of there, and somebody else got the ball.
For our listeners, this is a notorious home run ball stealer. I say notorious because it's not the best.
He's a vulture, man. He takes too many.
Well, he'll do his research. He studies where Jackson Holiday's tendencies will be versus a certain pitcher, and he'll go to that area of a ballpark. He's gotten hundreds of home run balls throughout the years.
And then, was it Judge's 300th home run? Siri threw it in the stands? I'm pretty sure. So, Meathead Siri from the Rays.
I like it.
The ball bounced back on the field.
Right. Went under the fence, didn't it?
Somehow it came back on the field, and that dipstick picks it up and throws it into the stands. Because he's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, man. He doesn't
come
like
on,
the
man.
Yankees.
Throw that in for Judge.
He's not a Yankee fan.
He's 300 fan. He's not a fan of anything except himself.
All right, here's a Yankee home run that we have been arguing about for the last 48 hours. Babe Ruth's home run jersey that he supposedly pointed to the outfield in Wrigley Field in the 1932 World Series sold for $24 million.
24.1.
Two things. Dibs' point of contention is, who had that jersey and saved it, and it was in that good condition for, 92 years? Really?
Chain of custody, man. Who had it? Where did it go? Who knows? There's a lot of forgeries out there, and now they put holograms on almost everything. So,
we know,
they can now, Major League Baseball can see something historic that once it comes back. But how do you even know that that's the jersey he was wearing?
And my big thing is this. He didn't even do it. That's a big old wives' tale. If you ask any Cubs fan that was there,
they say that he was pointing at the dugout. But either way, he was not happy by what was coming out in the World Series towards him.
It was actually a really cool moment, and I hope that everyone who's hiding the truth from this story keeps it up, because the folklore is actually better than the facts. But he was playing in Wrigley, and I guess Wrigley Field was not as friendly back then as it is today, where everybody was giving it to Babe Ruth. And Babe Ruth went up there and he looked at the first one, Dibs, and it was a little outside, but it was called strike. And Babe's got something to say about it. So everybody in the Chicago dugout, the Cubs, literally get off the front step and oh, what the hell? You're supposed to be Babe Ruth. You're supposed to be really awesome. And you're arguing balls and strikes right now. Come on, man. Let's see it. And then he looks at another one was outside, then looks at one with strike 2, and he's got a 1-2 count. He's like, oh, yeah, you're Babe Ruth. You're so awesome. Yeah, you're really Babe Ruth, huh? You're an old-timer. You're washed up. Get out of here, Babe. And then Babe looks at him and points to the dugout with 2 fingers and goes, that's 2. That's only 2 strikes. and then hits a home run, which is awesome. But as the folklore goes, actually, Babe Ruth pointed to the center field flagpole and said, I'm going to hit one out of here right in front of you, jerks. So think of the story how you want to think of it. Maybe the jersey's real, maybe it's not. But $24 million later, the story still lives, and it's pretty cool. It's one of the best ones in baseball.
Which begs, and we could get into this later.
What?
If you had $24 million to spend?
No.
Maybe a house, maybe something like that. But are you buying a jersey? I don't know. But old sweaty dude like Babe Ruth. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, do Dibbles and Bits.